all for attending tonight. We have a diverse audience of members and non-members here, so a special warm welcome to those who've joined us from across the ocean. For those who aren't members, a reminder, membership is just 300 Rand. Sign up on the website, www.cldsa.co.za, and get complimentary tickets to our talks, discounted coaching, and officiation for your swims, alongside a number of other benefits. In this series, we talk to icons of Cape long distance swimming. How did they start? What inspires them? And what cold water anecdotes do they have to share with us? Tonight, as usual, we planned a 30-minute discussion followed by a Q&A session at the end. So you can use the chat function to put your questions in. Please keep your questions relatively short. I may not be able to get to all the questions, but I'll do my best at getting through as many as I can. Jean Craven is our guest tonight. He was born in Rhodesia, but was raised in the Free State. He went to Grey Bloem, where he was head boy and excelled in several sports, playing SA Schools rugby, and was a provincial swimmer as well. Needless to say, he has some A-grade sporting stock, if you haven't worked it out already. After graduating from Stellenbosch University, he went into banking and investment and fund management. He's now an entrepreneur, investor, and adventure seeker, and the occasional motivational speaker. He co-founded the Madswimmers, or the Madswimmer, in 2009. This unique organization is committed to raising money for underprivileged communities through organizing exhilarating swims. From the icy poles to the heights of the Himalayas and the depths of the Dead Sea, the Madswimmers have swum some of the globe's most demanding waters. Let's hear more about the extraordinary Madswimmers. So big welcome to you, Jean. Thanks for joining us. I don't know what number you are, but we've been dying to talk to you since we started the Cold Water Capers. So thank you for joining us and sharing with us the history of the Madswimmers and also a little bit about yourself. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Thank you also for having the opportunity to to share some of our adventures with your members tonight.
No, that's great. I think I think a lot of the members have heard about Madswimmer. Yes, I think there may even be some people who've gone on the odd Madswimmer trip, but with things like the Langebaan Mad Dash, which is a Madswimmer event, and sort of really interesting parts of the world you guys get to. I think it's a great opportunity for us to sort of talk about what opportunities there are to sort of stretch your swimming sort of adventure to new destinations. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and I'm very excited to sort of find out a little bit more, and of course share. I've got some pictures from your website to actually share with the listeners today, so we can actually look a little bit at what's going on with some of your trips. But let's just start. Can you tell us a little bit about the background to Madswimmer? I think it was it 2009 that it started. How did it all start?
Well, it started on a late night in the French Alps. There was wine involved, and an actual subsequent bet to swim from Spain to Morocco, which some of you might have done already. But I actually was telling some friends that that didn't look too far to swim, and soon there was bets on the table. And 6 months later, after some training and getting actually back into the ocean for first time in a long while, we did the 17-kilometer swim. Quite a very nice swim, actually, for those who have done it will know. And raised some money. Felt a bit guilty taking money back then from friends, and decided to give the winnings to charity, to children's charity. And so started actually the Madswimmers. And we thought, well, we've swum between 2 continents. Let's see what's possible to do similar swims around the world. And we identified 6 other, call it intercontinental swims. Some of them more famous than others. Crossing the Bosphorus, we crossed the Red Sea, Saudi to Israel, and some in Papua New Guinea to Indonesia. Panama, across the Panama Canal, and also between the Diomede Islands, Russia to Alaska. So, started off with one swim a year, and tried quite off the chart stuff, and people caught on to our swims, and across the years, we got more and more interested, and we started expanding it, and it's always been a open society, but and open to anyone. But yeah, it started at humble beginnings. But I must say, today we've most probably had in excess of 500 swimmers join us from, I don't know, 25 plus nationalities, doing about 45 plus international swims, and most of them we try and do something that hasn't been done before, because that always draws a bit of attention and it helps with fundraising. But yeah, I try and also make it fun, but different swims. Some more easier warm water, and some cold and high. So there's something for everyone out there.
Yeah, we'll explore some of those fantastic locations that you've gone to. But I mean, what is interesting, obviously you've got some of those really extreme, and I mean this clearly the Diomede Islands, which I think Lynn Cox talked about swimming as well, in a few cold water capers ago. Obviously a very famous route, very cold, but obviously one island being part of America, one island being part of Asia, but that's a really extreme swim to do. So that's not for everyone. But a lot of your swims are a lot more perhaps attainable, achievable for the average swimmer. So there sort of seems to be a little bit of a mixture. Whilst you go on these big, very hectic adventures, at the same time there's some swims that perhaps other people would like, who maybe don't want it too cold or too extreme or too long or whatever, that they can sort of join.
I think part of our ethos is, it's not, we never have a podium at the end. So it doesn't always please some swimmers, that it's not a race. It's a challenge. So each of our swims are a challenge, meaning that we sign up as a group, and we finish the swims as a group. And that means, we cater for cross-board. So yes, some of our, and we try and have one or two of these swims a year, which is open to everyone, to some newbies, to open water. We typically have a slow, medium, fast group, and in the slow and medium groups actually get picked up by boats, and they get dropped off at the front group, so you don't have a too stretched field, every 45 minutes. And it's really about getting everyone across the finish line at the same time. And that, I think this is what makes it perhaps a bit different. We've really catered for beginners to pros, but where people can end up swimming the same swim in the same time. Although the back crew gets picked up, and it's not all extreme, weather or animal or continental wise. Yes, some of the swims are a bit more trickier getting to logistical wise, and a bit more nerve-wracking, from a risk perspective. But we try and cater for the broad swimming community. I've been asked in the past, a lot of swimmers out there obviously building brand, and it's their business, and it's kind of focused around their own personal brand. But Madswimmers is really, it's bigger. It's bigger than the institution is bigger than the individual, and that's how we've positioned it. So, and I think the only prerequisite is that you need to be able to swim. But it's really open for anyone. And, we put these swims out there. We try and cater for, obviously being South African based, we cater for one or two local swims a year. And then, we have some of these extreme ones. We typically also have a swim, somewhere in Africa, which is, call it medium priced and very nice. But, you end up, a lot of these swims, you end up actually getting to know the people on the swim quite well. You're not just in and out of the water, getting a medal and back home. Sometimes it entails a few days. And then, some of the extreme ones, you get to know people very well. You're spending time with people on a mission. And but that caters for those who got either psychological problems or need to grow. But we cater for all.
Yeah, so there's quite a few sort of thoughts come to mind on this. So I just want to go back to that point. You said, listen, it's not about. I mean, yes, there are people out there, and we don't need to name names, but there's people obviously developing their own brand. I mean, you yourself, I mean, you're quite modest actually. I mean, you've personally just without all the Madswimmer, you've achieved some pretty incredible feats. I mean, you've gone around Manhattan, right? You've done the English Channel. You've obviously done, so you've also done the I mean, you've done all these intercontinental swims, and you swum I think a kilometer at both poles, high swims, low swims, and all that sort of thing. So where is Jean Craven? Where's he standing up and saying, listen, where's the Jean Craven brand saying, listen, look at me, I've achieved all of this? Well, why is it all about Madswimmer? Why is it about the Madswimmer? I mean, there are people doing things for charity in their individual capacities, but this obviously is a big brand. I mean, why is it? I mean, you're a team, right? It's not just you. There is a team of in the Madswimmer organization itself, but clearly you've decided that this is the vehicle that you want to do your swims with, despite your achievements and your ability and all that sort of thing. It's about Madswimmer, not about Jean Craven necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, just from fortunately we've got a nice support crew, few individuals that that assist us with some logistics, which can sometimes be quite tricky, especially intercontinental between countries, getting permissions and stuff, and a lot of these are first time ever. So that, I mean, some of the permissions have stretched out for 2+ years. Just getting permission to swim from Saudi Arabia to Egypt, or from Russia to Alaska, which was quite tricky. But I think from the start, the departure was that it is a double-edged sword, or a good sword. I don't know if sword's always the right word, but we want to take folks with us, to get them out of their comfort zones, I say, to a lesser or more extent. We feel that that give them opportunity to grow, and for us to grow as a team. And at the same time, raising funds for charity, and also being inspirational to a lot of people out there. So you're cutting both sides. And and I think, if it was an individual, perhaps you'd not be able to cater for that. People, we rock up at swims all on par, get to know each other during the swim, and before, after. And it's not, there's no medals, there's no gold, silver, bronze. There's all of it competing at the same. And doing that, we've seen a lot of repeat guys come over the years. We've built up a community across the globe and support, which has been amazing. And yeah, so it's, as I say, it does not cater always for the brand guys who do it for themselves. But not to say, I mean, I've done the English Channel. But there was actually, Derek offered me this slot. There was an open slot, and I thought, hell, I can't be doing all these swims. They're not. People always ask me, have you done the channel? Have you done the channel? So I said, okay, let me just do this darn channel, and then at least I'm not going to be asked that again. But yeah, so and then same for Manhattan. But I mean, our swims are done in team format, and that, yeah, that certainly, some of them, yes, it's a privilege to be able to swim in the north, in the Arctic and Antarctic, as an example, which I'm very grateful for. But it's also, having that privilege, more so, this is a tool to pay it forward. Pay it forward to those that you can bring with you, and take them out of their comfort zones and let them grow. And then also, when you're handing that check to an orphanage or children's special needs school, looking at those kids' eyes, when you show them a video, you've actually swum in this ice, and it might just stick with one little kid there, and motivate that child to go to extraordinary heights, and people out there see, wow, what, these are actually a bunch of normal folks like you and me, and they're getting quite Superman stuff done, and I think that's the format that's been working, and it's been pushing people out of their comfort zones from a mad swimmer point since 2009.
So you sort of talk quite nicely around there. The format of your swims is quite interesting. Or let's say most of your swims is sort of, there's no gold medal and all that. It's not about that. It's about a team and all that. I mean, presumably there's quite good camaraderie. You're having drinks afterwards. You maybe not in Saudi Arabia, but in other places. But you're hanging out for a few days with these people. It's not just go do a swim race and then go home. It's actually, you actually have a bit of a holiday with these people. So a mad swimmer must be there for quite a lot about the camaraderie of these people. And some of these people may have been on previous swims with you before as well. So you get to know them, which is great. And we all know that in the swimming world that it's so much about the people that surround you. So as well as that, I mean, we move on to other things. So, so this is a swim here, a famous swim for those who don't know. It's the Dead Sea swim. I don't know which way you did, Israel to Jordan or Jordan to Israel, but, the saltiest, pretty much the saltiest piece of water in the world and the lowest point on Earth. And it was a swim across, and it was obviously a major political moment, right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about this swim? You there, Jean?
Yeah. Can you hear me there?
Yes.
Yeah. The Dead Sea swim. After we did the 6 intercontinental swims, we, when the Inupiaq Eskimo pulled me out of the water there and on the US side in the Diomede Islands, the little one, Amos, he asked me, so what's next? And I just kind of said, what, we're gonna be doing the highest swim in the world, and I don't even know where that was, but certainly it sounded like a good challenge. We did that the next year. We might touch base on it a bit later. And then the Dead Sea was obviously a natural progression to that being the lowest in the world, minus 450 meters. And again, it had its challenges in terms of we didn't really know what to expect, being besides salty, very mineral. So we had to swim with these big masks, and we swam from Jordan to Israel, which is quite a hotbed. We had even some Israeli fighters fly overhead just to kind of give any kidnappers, just kind of a warning. Not that there are many boats on the Dead Sea either. We had to actually truck these boats in from the Mediterranean. I mean, it's too salty, and no one normally has a boat on the Dead Sea. So we had to get all these logistics done. We had an amazing crew out of Israel, Israeli swimmers who immensely helped us on this. We were a group of, I think, about 28 international swimmers doing this. Such an amazing swim. But yeah, and again, we swim quite slow, to allow for the slow folks in the back. And it was for 17 odd Ks, and we swam 6 hours. So a long day out there. And just maybe some very interesting fact on the Dead Sea. Don't need to take any sunscreen. We spent 6 hours in the sun, and it's in the desert. But because it's so low, the ozone's so thick, and the sun doesn't hit you, doesn't damage your back, so you don't actually need sunscreen to swim there. So in any case, what an amazing swim, and you know, made friends forever. You know, we're still in contact with all of those swimmers. We actually did 1 or 2 swims with that group around the Trump Wall in San Diego to Tijuana in Mexico, and actually they actually came out to South Africa. We tried to do a 100K swim in KZN with them, but yeah, no, it was amazing swim, and you know, amazing friends made on that swim.
All right. Well, thanks for that. I mean, it is one that I've read a lot about, and it seems to be really interesting in a hotbed. Not to mention, obviously, the challenge of swimming in all that salt. So we're just going to go through some of the other pictures of some of the other great swims that you've done, and then we'll get to some other ones. So there's Ibiza in the Mediterranean, and then across the Riviera, Monaco. Did you swim here the full length of the Principality from one side to the other? Is that right?
Yeah, so the Monaco swim, yeah, well, that also just you know, sometimes we do just get these ideas, you know, out of the hat, you know, and it's you know, but yeah, we swam from Italy past France to Monaco, so that was about that's a 25 odd K swim. Yeah, beautiful. If you breathe to the right, a beautiful swim. You know, swimming all along the, you know, the Riviera there, starting in the Italian Riviera, ending in Monaco. Yeah, no, a great swim, and actually, you know, guys putting in a lot of effort coming from South Africa to complete that swim. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, definitely, and yeah, that a few fun days after that as well. But yeah, that was and I mean the med swims are nice. I mean, it's warm water, typically quite clean. So you know, more like, but you know, 25 Ks is 25 Ks. You know, it's not you know, you still have to be able to swim and train a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, really, it is around the world. Here's one in you know, Mexico, and then obviously, I think what a lot of I think recently as well, your trips into Africa are obviously quite famous. I think yeah, Lake Malawi. There's a few people who've tried to swim across Lake Malawi, and I'm sure the stories around crocodiles and hippos and other wild animals here, but yeah, really, I think there's more fish species in Lake Malawi than any other lake in the world, or something like that. It's an incredible part of the world, I'm told. But yeah, I mean, this must have been a really, and you said the Med was warm. I'm sure this was a little bit warmer though.
Yeah, very. I mean, we actually camped. We started at Cape Maclear, and we took boats over to Mozambique, and we camped on the beach that night on the Mozambican side. Yeah, and you know, with these freshwater swims, well, animals are always at play, and it's interesting to see. People always ask about sharks and yeah, hippos and crocodiles. It always comes up. But yeah, they're definitely hippos and crocs, but yeah, it's just we always just tell them, you know, you just have to sprint the first 500 meters. Make sure you're in the line. Yeah, doesn't help for, yeah, it doesn't help a lot motivationally wise, but the people do some fast that first bit and the last bit. But yeah, the lovely swim. We had a big bunch. Also, yeah, 25 plus odd swimmers, mostly South African. And yeah, yeah, freshwater, as you know, you haven't got that buoyancy, so it's a long day out there. And but lovely swim and lovely people in Malawi. You know, we got a great time there. You know, the friendliness, yeah, it's very much enjoyable. We try and we've done quite a few lakes, like Malawi, like crossing also Lake Tanganyika, Tanzania to Zambia. That was long. That was 42 Ks freshwater. That was a tough one. But yeah, no, but yeah, always seem to get people keen for these adventures.
Yeah, no, I I think a lot of South Africans would be very keen to head to some of these African destinations to sort of give some of these stretches of water a go. I think really exciting times. And oh yeah, just a reminder, please, if you've got any questions for Jean, questions about himself or questions about Madswimmers, there's only so much we can cover in this half hour, but we've got another 10 minutes where hopefully we can get a few additional questions in. And I want to cover a couple of things in the next 5 minutes before we hand over to questions, but please head over to the chat section and put your questions in. I think this is the latest swim, Lamu, which is in Kenya. Yeah, and then yeah, some of your swims are local as well. So this is Meisner. This was an epic swim. Just showing you the camaraderie, the Orange River. I think this is quite a long swim, not all swimming. I think a bit of kayaking, bit of walking, but obviously mostly swimming. And obviously a little bit warmer between Namibia and South Africa. So, really great, really great location. Yeah, good stories came out of this trip, if I recall, 5 years ago.
Yeah, that we try to get the sluices of the Gariep van der Kloof Dam open, but the water took a bit slow, so we ended up having to cross quite a few stones. So it was a bit of a biathlon, rather, not too much walking, but no, but again, a great location and beautiful. We've done quite a few river swims. I mean, there are swimmers out there who like the rivers. We've done the Orange and 1 or 2 rivers in the East Southern Cape. Yeah, it's I guess the challenge there, it's brown water, so the scenery in the water is not that great, but yeah, you've got the current, a lot of times current assist, which which gives you the ability to do quite a bit of distance. And again, some of these swims are local. I mean, we are trying to, we must probably put together another Knysna swim again. We did that way back, so we must probably do another Knysna Old Bridge to the Heads, probably in September, so we like the Longabon Mad Dash. We might make that an annual swim again. There's some keen swimmers out there in Knysna who are looking to be able to assist us putting this together and make an annual event out of that. The time we did it was during the Knysna Oyster Festival, so quite a few of us did the half marathon and then straight after that the swim. But yeah, I might be getting a bit old for that stuff now.
Just for those who haven't done it before, how does it work? So let's say you've got 20 people interested in a swim in Africa or whatever. Is there a fee that they pay for the swim, or are they given a target to fundraise to, or is it a bit of both, or does it depend on the trip itself in terms of how do you get the fundraising going?
Yeah, so on Facebook typically, or when we on Facebook, Instagram, we've got a web page. We post these swims, and there's normally contact details, and people reach out there and sign up, or interested. And then as time progresses, we do send out information to those interested. There's normally a basic fee that covers the logistics of the swim. So this entails boats, support boats, food on the day, medical support on the day. So normally covers all the costs of the day. Transport and lodging, that's normally up to the swimmers, and that's catered for individually on your own account. But the fee we charge is normally just to cover the costs. We do get sponsors, which we then put towards reducing some of these costs. And then, yeah, the charity aspect of it, each and every swimmers, we ask as a favor to try and get this out to their communities and raise funds. It's not necessarily about quantum raise, but more principle. I mean, if someone's raising a few R100, that does go a long way, for those who don't have it. So, and there's normally a target that we do put to it, and we've typically hit all our targets. Some of the tougher swim internationally, we do we do raise a bit more because we do get some corporate sponsors then. But that's a bit of a different model. But there again, I mean, in most of these instances, people pay their own way. If we do get some logistical sponsors, we use that to lessen the cost. But yeah, it shows also, I guess, dedication and people willing to go all the way. But the fee, normally the fee that we charge covers for logistics on the day only.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Yeah, I've just gone through a couple of, we're moving on to the cold swims now. So Antarctica, obviously, and we're seeing a few swims organized there these days, which is quite a nice place to go. But this one was quite an important swim for you. You got, I remember, I think this was on Carte Blanche, if I recall, way back when. And, you were hunting for the highest place to swim where there was a piece of water that wasn't frozen over. And so this took you to the Andes and Tres Cruces. I think was Chile, Argentina, roughly that border somewhere. And it's not just swimming; it was a bit of hiking as well, and probably getting acclimatized to the low oxygen at 5909. That's basically Kilimanjaro's peak. So this is some serious altitude. So tell us a little bit about this trip.
Yeah, so that kind of also, we were chasing a world record and did a bit of a search, and I saw Luis Pugh did Everest a few years before at 5.3, and go to Google, go and look for the highest water in the world, find this on Chile. Okay, then I guess we're going to Chile, and so I had this quite planned. With Sean Disney, South African mountaineers, done Everest twice. He's actually taking us now next month again. Got a few crew. Some of the swimmers here in the Cape, Herman van der Westhuizen, he's came with us. Some Joburg guys. So put together a crew, and then got some 12, 15 odd, well, not Sherpas, they call them, just assistants. They're not called Sherpas. They don't like being called Sherpas in Chile for some other reason. But so off we went with this team of 20 people and carte blanche, hot on our tail, and arrived the first day in Chile. And the local tour guide there said, she called me in at the first night and said, no, she just wants to have a bit of a chat. So I said, okay, cool. And she said, we got one small problem, that piece of water body you want to go and swim in on this volcano, which is the highest one in the world. It was Hoyos del Salado at 6,800. The pool there was at 6,350 something. And she said that pool's solid frozen. So I said, oh, great. That's just great news. Maybe you could have told me this a day or two earlier, but nevertheless, here we are. And like a lot of these swims, actually, I was having a chat to one of my crew coming with to Everest today. Like a lot of these things, you just have to then wing it and on the trot. And we decided, okay, we're going to start acclimatization, which was quite hectic. We started driving through the Atacama Desert. We started at the coast and drove inland to the Andes. Every day started to climb anything from a half a K to a K up and down. So, and we ended up doing about almost 7 kili peaks, not top to bottom, but just as high in 9 days, to acclimatize. And it was hectic. But on the backdrop of this, we didn't know where we were going to swim. So we headed to our original destination and hoping we would find another pool. And fortune had it that one day we were taking photos of the Andes on this road, and down came a bunch of a team of guys and our Sherpas and them started speaking, and they told us, oh, they've heard about this lake that some Poles found last year. And we said, And in any case, we got as much possible details of this, and we set up camp that night. Our first base camp at 4-3 at Laguna Verde. It's a beautiful blue lake on the border with Chile and Argentina. And we actually, myself, Herman, and Rob Croft, we actually brought our kites with. So I think we broke the world's highest kite surfing record there too. Gee, it was cold. I mean, the wind comes down there howling. It's a Gulf Stream. It comes down and it dips to -40. You got like full wetsuit gloves and but we kite surfed. But then that evening, so we had a satellite dish, and with my laptop there, and I was quickly on googling this lake poles discovered, and so help us. We found this blog, and here it was. These poles that left this blog and explained to us there's this lake, and it's on Tres Cruces, 3 Crosses volcano, which was not too far, 30 k's away, and then we went to Google Earth and we got this mountain, and we saw, there's it, and it looked white. Okay, it might be a bit ice too. And our guys planned a hike up there. They over an ice shelf of about 1 kilometer with crampons and ropes, not climbing but hiking, but steep. And it took us three attempts to get to the top. The second one I made. The first one I didn't. Just one guy made it. The second one we got our kit up there, and the third one was our swim day. And when we got there, it was also solid frozen, the top 30 centimeters, the second time. And I thought, oh God, we're not going to be able to do this. And I didn't know how we're going to do it. And that final day before we had one last day, carte blanche was coming the next day to interview. And I was like on my satellite phone, texting my PA, Carmen, who's here on this call, saying just, because we couldn't get the chainsaws working. We had chainsaws. We carried up 11 kgs, and trust me, that feels like a ton if you go up 1K over ice. We had chainsaws carried up, and they didn't want to work. It was too high to cut the ice. And my PA eventually reached one of the senior guys of Still. It's a Brazilian company, we reached Still Brazil, and they said, listen, what do you expect? I mean, chainsaws aren't made for that altitude, man. They're made to cut trees.
There's not many trees.
So any case, but on the last day, thankfully, it was in this caldera, and the sun's rays had focused on this one point, and the water started melting. The ice had melted, and it got over, and I saw, wow, that bit looks a bit bluer than the 2 days ago. And we threw in a rock there, and it broke open, and me and the team were there with our ice picks cutting open a lane, and we get our tent set up and pre-warm up, and we did the swim. We did it, but such adversity, and that's tough. It's tough staying for a week or two above 4,000 meters in that death zone. There was more climbing, but it's those adventures. Everyone on that trip can recall every day exactly what happened day by day, and we all pushed our own boundaries there and our comfort zones, and such a great experience to be able to raise that South African flag over that lake. And that record was broken 2 years later by Aussie Matt. I helped him get to the original lake or water body we were going to, so he broke it. And we're hopefully going to take that back next month again.
So then I think our first question in the comment section was the first question I want to get to is what's planned for 2024. So next month it's you're going off to Everest, and a bit more hiking, a bit more acclimatizing, less oxygen, maybe some plan around the chainsaws, but obviously going for a higher altitude and hope and seeing some hopefully seeing some water that isn't frozen.
We're not going to take chainsaws with this time. I mean, we carried that. I can't believe they carried all that stuff from Joburg to that mountain, and they didn't work. But so we've got this challenge outlined in the Himalayas. It's actually we were looking at Everest, but we're actually going down the the valley to a mountain called Puta, just next to. And we'll be looking for some water between 6.5 and 7,000 meters. The likelihood of getting a lake or piece of water there is higher, given that Everest is fairly well trodden. And the feedback we got from the police authorities was indicating that this is a better task or better ask. But yeah, it's going to be quite challenging again. It's off the beaten track. Got a good team. Sean Disney again, the South African mountaineer, lives now in London. We got mostly South Africans. One girl, ice swimmer from Switzerland. Yeah, it's going to be a cool adventure, literally cool. And yeah, hopefully we're going to get this water, but also, you know, a bit of a, or given that we going there, you know, focus a bit of awareness around climate change, and actually, you know, pointing to the fact that we're going to be swimming in a pool that maybe is a bit there too early. You know, that pool we're swimming in shouldn't actually be there. So it's, you know, not just charity, but also the climate awareness. And yeah, very much yeah, looking forward to that. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one. Yeah, but we're hopefully going to come back to tell another good story. There's still space if anyone's interested.
There's still space. Okay. Oh, no, any other trips around those who are not maybe wanting it as high up or as cold?
So as I mentioned, we're going to be posting a swim in Knysna again around September. Okay. And then we've got we have every year East African swim, and it's going to be on an island. We just looking around affordability, you know, cheap flights, typically direct from Cape Town or Joburg, you know, and this one must probably be normally around November. So these are very nice swims, typically 25 will be around about 25 Ks. But again, you know, the format is going to be 2-3 groups, and you know, if you slow, fine, just come. There's a boat that every 45 minutes there's a reset, so it picks up the bottom team, the back teams, and the middle teams, and they get dropped with the fast team, and we start again. So these are really very nice and quite popular, you know, and it's often good to make a bit of an outing, you know, typically 4-day outing. Bring your partner, well, kids if you want to, with, and you know, and come and explore something new. But that's probably going to be happening around November.
Well, that's fantastic. So I think people can follow Madswimmer on Facebook. I think there's Instagram as well. And then there's the website, madswimmer.com, I think. Or just Google Madswimmer and you'll find a lot more information about the previous trips as well as trips that are about to come. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of, I think there's some other questions there around, how do they get into this and all that sort of thing. I think you've shared quite a lot around the fact that you don't have to be, you know, the strongest swimmer. You can come and swim less distance, but still be very much part of the crowd. So I think that's quite encouraging. And then, look for a swim that really suits what you want. If you're a bit worried about, you know, there'll be some really challenging ones that might be a little bit more intimidating. Look for the one that perhaps is a little bit more tame if that's your appetite. So yeah, I mean, Jean, I think thank you. We've sort of run out of time. I could talk to you for another hour quite easily. I think there's a lot of trips that you've done that we could go into, and I'm sure lots of stories to be told. And thank you very much for your time, and well done for what you do with Madswimmer. It's very inspirational, and actually, you know, gives us South Africans really a great opportunity to go and do some adventure swimming that we might not have otherwise done. So thank you very, very much for your time. And thank you everybody else for joining us tonight. We've had fun with another edition of Cold Water Capers. And thanks to my producer, Monene Murray, for all your hard work behind the scenes, getting everything ready for us. And yeah, Jean, thank you very much. And we will be in touch and see you soon.
Super. Thanks for the time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.